Hello, everyone. This is Z, and today I have a very good friend of mine talking about his new album, Mr. Marc Malitz. How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Z? I'm doing good.
Yeah, good to see you. And you've been busy for some time, last couple of years. How's things going now?
Great. I just released my first solo album a few years in the making, and it's a very exciting thing, of course. And sometimes you don't think you're going to get there, you're going to make it, but I persevered, so it feels great.
Yeah, it is a big undertaking, and I'm asking myself as well. Like, where's your music? Fans are keep asking, "Hey Z, when you're going to release this stuff?"
It's
And
been a
I'm
little
like,
while.
"Okay, yeah, but things are progressing." So,
That's
uh,
great.
s- so I'm starting this a new series where I'm like talking to different friends of mine and musicians and learning what they're up to, what keeps them inspired, and how what their journey is as a musician, and like where they are going now, what's their upcoming projects and stuff. So since you came up with the new album, and I was like, okay, why don't we can talk about that as well, right? So what's the name of the album?
Yes, it's called Off World.
Of World. Okay, that's
It's a science. Well, it's got a
what,
science.
what's the story behind that name, how you came up with that
Yeah.
title?
Well, I'm a big science fiction fan, so it kind of comes from that, like the movie Blade Runner. They talk about that off-world colonies, or they're people trying to escape Earth and live a better life. So it actually really ties in with that theme with the whole record. I,
Hmm.
I went through some personal struggles and divorce and all these things and the pandemic all at the same time, and so you know, there's a song. The title track's all about sort of escaping and going somewhere far away and gaining a new perspective on life and and just to see where I'm at and see if I can become something else, you know.
Hmm.
So
And you indeed achieved something big, and you played all instruments yourself except the drums, right?
yes,
And
I
this is a big, big thing.
I didn't think that was going to happen. Yeah, a lot of people were surprised to get a lot of responses with the guitar playing. Everyone knows I'm a bass player, and but I welcome all the compliments with my bass playing. I worked very hard on that stuff, but with the guitar playing, everyone's like, "Oh my god, I didn't realize you were so accomplished," and I'm like, I didn't either. I have been playing on and off for a long time, but I never really dedicated myself, continuously playing guitar. But I just decided to push myself, and it just came out. I was really inspired, and I was really happy with it. I took a step back, and I thought, would I like this if it was someone else playing this? Would I think it's good? I'm like, yeah, actually, it's pretty damn good. So
Mhm.
I just went with it.
And you have pretty nice guitar collection going on at the back. Why don't you move a little bit side and show the our viewers? That's
Oh, yeah, that's cool. I have a couple
that's
others, but
that's all. That's awesome. Looks
some
like you're a big Joe Satriani fan, and that influence also I
yes.
hear on the record as well.
Good ear. Yeah. I mean, obviously, so it's an instrumental rock genre, guitar rock, fusion kind of thing. And yeah, Satriani, huge influence. He really changed my life, along with his bass player at the time, Stu Ham. I saw those guys the first time back in 1990, and I was just blown away. I thought I was pretty good at the time. And then Stu Ham played a solo, and I was like, oh, I got a long way to go. But it was awesome. It was just one of those moments.
That happened to me. Like I used to think when I started playing guitar, like in 1 or 2 years, I got pretty decent compared to the average dudes
Yeah,
back in the day. And when I went to my first good concert, and I'm like, I don't know shit.
that's what it's
and,
all about, though.
and
I'm very
it
serious.
happens today as well. Like if I
Right.
go to any other concert, and I was like come up with different mindset. So
It's cool.
so I mean that makes
Yeah,
you a better musician, better songwriter, and everything in general. So talking about Stu Ham, I see he complimented your album.
I
And
reached. Yeah, I was scared to do this, but I decided to reach out to him. I had his email. It's on his Facebook page.
Yeah,
I reached out, said, "What the hell? I mean, I'm sure he's gonna dig it. What do I have to lose?" And he replied, "Yeah." And he listened to it. And he gave me a fun response. He thought, "Oh, it's really the mix is very bass heavy," and he was very happy about that. Obviously being a bass player and
that's awesome. That's
cool and yeah.
that's
So
something like being your, for example, heroes like you look up to, and if they compliment your music, there's nothing satisfying,
it's the
as a
best. I mean,
as a musician, you are
yeah.
always looking for compliments and more, you can say recognition and stuff like that. Like you
Oh
did
yeah.
something and fans give you that feedback and you respond to that. And if someone who's well-established musician give you that type of response, I mean, it feels out of the world.
It's priceless. Yeah,
or
that's
or off world.
right. I think I sent a I sent I sent the I did a screenshot of his email and I said, I can retire now. I'm done. You know, I mean, I'm going to keep going though, but that was, it was like
No,
this is
we have time.
for
We
real.
till we play Royal Albert Hall, so we have.
Oh,
Then we'll retire.
yeah, if that happens, then I'll retire with you.
Yeah, my one of my wish lists is to play Royal Albert Hall. I'm not working towards that goal, but hopefully it will happen someday, maybe something.
I'm going to
Then
hope to
I'll
go
I'll
there.
I'll happily retire.
Yeah, I hope to go there. I'm going to be going to England next year and try to check out if there's a show going on while I'm there in London.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I've been to London, but I've never been to that area, Royal Albert. I was there for a very short trip,
Yeah,
so didn't get an opportunity. But hopefully, we'll go again, and that's one of my bucket list as well to go and watch the show. Plus, experience that. And I'm
right.
glad they protect that venue. The government is involved in protecting that venues, which is pretty awesome.
That's
Otherwise,
great.
the way venues are becoming modernized and all, so you're losing the art and the history basically.
Oh yeah,
So
that's it's such an important thing to preserve. I'm glad they're doing it there. Yeah.
yeah, so tell me about like songwriting process of your album, like how many songs on the record, what type of direction you went in, and like how it sparks the idea.
Yeah, thanks. It's a good
And
question.
I think you grew up on the recording side as well. You recorded yourself as a lot of instruments.
Yes,
And so that's like explain the process behind the songwriting.
it was trial and error. I got an iMac, used GarageBand originally. I got a nice interface device to plug into and just started recording ideas. And then I sort of started picking up things and learning how to use the software. Sort of graduated to Logic after that. Thanks to some of your encouragement and urging to get on Logic. The songs, that was instrumental rock. Obviously, been a big thing. I'm not a singer. I have sung in bands. I've written some lyrics, but it's not really my strong suit. And I feel just the instrumental rock fusion thing is it's just where my head's really at. That's where my inspiration comes from and ideas and that world. Um, you know, what I went through personally obviously was a big thing, and that definitely served as a lot of inspiration and just it was therapeutic. I just had a lot of ideas and a lot of emotions, and it all just sort of came pouring out. I would write riffs on bass or play guitar, chord progression, a lick, and I played some keyboards and synths for sure, but it was usually afterwards. I didn't really start an idea on piano, but that might happen in the future. But I just started built on those basic bass or guitar riffs and layered the tracks and sort of just let see where the ideas would go. And I just had a lot of ideas. It just kept coming out. It was great. I was scared because I'm like, I don't have a whole song, but it just came out. It just, from one section to the next, I just kind of pieced it together, but always made sure to try to make it cohesive in one way or another. and if there was a good flow and right, have a strong melody on top, and
Hmm.
so it sounds like a song and not just sort of um
Rib salad.
yeah, right, riff, yeah, riff style. Now some songs sort of jump, they have that prog thing going on, so there's a little bit of that, but I always try to take a step back and make sure it's musical and melodic, and there's just some cohesion going on. So that's what I did.
Yeah, I mean, it's again a record worth listening to because I've listened to a few times and it has really mature songwriting in a sense. It doesn't sounds like a debut solo album of somebody, it sounds like a
Thank
coming
you.
from a
That's
mature
good.
person, and plus you played all the different instruments, which which is also a big thing, because you are mainly a bass player, you call it yourself, but your
Right.
guitar playing also is like top class there. So even the solos and shredding you are doing, it sounds like somebody know what they're doing, So
I succeeded. I have a really good old friend of mine who's a guitar player. He was like my guitar player in like my high school band, my first band, and he was a big Satriani guy too.
hmm
That's how we met and formed a band together. And he played the Satriani guitar. We played covers. So I sent them the record. I fooled him. He thought I on some of the songs he thought someone else was playing guitar. I'm like, no, it's all me. He was blown away, which is like crazy to me. Crazy. So that was super cool.
that's also fun, when people don't think that you can do that stuff. But
Yeah,
but when you show somebody, like it happened to me as well, like with other guys, like telling the similar stories. So it's fun. Who else collaborated on the music? Like you have a couple of drummers
yeah.
featured on this.
A couple of drummers. Now I wanted to mention I didn't say there's 7 tracks on the record, and there's actually my very first single is not on the record. There could have been 8 songs, but I decided to leave that first one alone, sort of as part of my. I wanted to just keep it as its own thing, and it's just a standalone single, and it was actually an homage to Stu Ham. It's called Green Eggs and Ham,
Hmm.
Hamm, and pretty proud of that too. But I wanted to leave it off the record. But 7 songs is about 40 minutes, so it's still a full record. I had 2 drummers on this record. One, a guy named Bill Kaiser, a good friend of both of ours. He's played with Fire Garden, of course, and great drummer, great guy. And he's on 4 of the tracks. And then another old friend of mine that I met out in LA when I used to live out in LA, um,
Hmm.
15, 20 years ago. Bastian Kirchdorfer, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I haven't said his last name out loud in ages, but another great guy, and he lives out in Germany. And I more recently reconnected with him a couple years ago and
Hmm.
decided to have him play in a couple songs as well.
That's awesome. And who did the mixing, mastering stuff? Like
You did no,
I
well,
did one song, I think,
yeah.
as a single.
One of the singles that's on
Yeah, Transform,
uh,
I think.
Transform, the old
Yeah,
track. You did the original mix on that, or you did. I had a couple guys. You did a
yeah,
remix, but I decided for the record, I'm like, I'm gonna have one guy do everything.
yeah.
Who does this more for a living, more of a pro, and he's mixed a lot of records. His name's Chris Wisco. I had to remember his name. Bell City Sound up in Racine, Wisconsin. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago. He's up. Well, you as well. He's
Mm-hmm.
north of us, up in Racine. Great guy and reasonable rates. So anyone looking for someone to have professional mixing on your album, Chris Wisco at Bell City Sound.
Yeah, that's all. That's awesome. So, what else going on? What you're up to these days? Are you playing in different cover bands
I
uh,
do,
for
yeah,
fun?
for fun.
For
I'm not as
fun.
active as I used to be, or for now anyway, with gigs, but yeah, classic rock cover band kind of stuff, and it's more unique. We play a lot of medleys, which a lot of cover bands don't do, so keeps people guessing. It's more fun and great group of guys. I've been playing with them for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I play once in a while with my brother, my 2 brothers, I should say. we'll play like a family get together at our
Hmm.
cousin's house. I've mentioned to you before, but that's like a once a year. I'm not as active. I'm just more into recording now and writing new
Hmm.
material. I started writing a new song, and so that's exciting. Getting back to it. I haven't written anything in quite a while because of this record and
Yeah,
trying to.
so this record will be is already out on CD, and it will be
Yeah,
out on vinyl as well. You are doing a little vinyl run as well, right?
yeah. So CDs are available on my Bandcamp site, and then I'll have vinyl. Vinyl's being cut as we speak. Hopefully, well, it takes a little while, but they'll be in my hands by late November, early December.
Hmm.
Uh,
Right,
yeah,
right time at the holidays.
right.
So for the holidays, so I'll put the link of your Bandcamp on this video as well. So anybody wants to, uh, Mark's record, just go to the Bandcamp site.
Yes, I'm on all
And
the streamings.
I'm not getting any commission from it, but I'm still referring all the traffic there. So,
Right. I put myself on the Spotify and all the streaming services because just for exposure and people to check it out or hopefully randomly find my music and then they want to support me. Yes, go to Bandcamp.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, today is a Bandcamp Friday as well. Hopefully, next
That's
Bandcamp Friday, I will be putting some stuff out for Fire Garden as well. So, hopefully,
yeah,
so
right. The
so
next couple months it'll be Bandcamp Friday every first Friday of the month.
yes, something so. So, tell me like your journey as a musician in this, like how you became a musician, how you started playing the instrument. Let's A lot of people don't know about your background. You've been into very well-known established bands as well, like Eclectics and others. And so, can
Yeah,
you go through that, like different instruments you play, how you started your journey as a musician and
yeah. Well,
became a bass player? And
I'll do my best. It's a long history now. I started on playing trombone back in grade school and then started playing bass. Well, I took guitar first. So me and my brother, we decided, he's like, I want to take guitar lessons. And I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. I'll do that too. Although in the back of my mind, I was always attracted to bass. So I am the rare example of actually wanting to play bass, not guitar. But I took a few months of guitar lessons first. And then I switched to bass right after that. And this is about in middle school. And then I just fell in love with it. I took to it immediately, even more than guitar, and I just yeah, I loved it. And playing classic rock, and then later, yeah, got into Joe Satriani and then that whole world. So yeah, Stu Ham as far as bass players, and these
Mhm.
guys, Steve Morse and Steve Vai, and that was a big deal. I got into Iron Maiden, huge. Steve Harris, of course. So I'd be playing along the Steve Harris record, Steve Harris, Iron Maiden records, playing all the Steve Harris. And that I recommend it for any bass player. You want to get your stamina and your chops. Just play through the whole record. Not even playing all the right notes. Just playing and galloping along. I did
Mhm.
that all the time in my bedroom. Things like that. And then of course jazz fusion. I was studying jazz in high school. Decided to be. I was a jazz major in college and studied electric bass. Not even upright bass, but electric bass.
Mhm.
And it was all that stuff coming at me. Stanley Clark, big influence. Everyone, Jocko, not so much. Although Jocko later, because I wasn't playing fretless, and
Mhm.
Stanley Clark's was his whole thing spoke to me. Slap, of course, the slap bass thing, and which was, of course, what Stu Ham did a lot of, in the two-handed tapping. And then and then things got weird. I met new people at the time, made new friends, I should say. This is in the mid '90s. They were into punk rock, so I got into punk rock because I just wanted to get out there. I wanted to break away from all the musician music, right? I wanted to break
Yeah.
and meet girls. That was why. So then it was punk rock, and then I got into
You
this.
must have long hairs back then.
Yeah, yeah. I bleached my hair and I fell into a ska band because they knew I used to play trombone. So I found myself in a ska punk band, which is hilarious, but it was a lot of fun. We played a million shows, and these kids came out and they supported you. There was a big scene at the time. and we were playing all these shows, and they were packed in people's basements, small bars, big clubs. Went on tour with bigger bands.
Hmm.
We signed we almost could have signed to a major label, but we were very successful in Chicago locally, and we opened for all the big bands. We went on tour with some of those bigger bands that were on major labels like Less Than Jake and uh, Skank and Pickle, and the Specials, who are legends from the late '70s in England. We toured with them a few shows, so it was a crazy time. Then I sort of came back to Prague, and I moved to LA. So I was seeking out this, trying to be a session musician, but things like all the industry all changed at that point, where everyone, you know, there was less people weren't going to the big studios as much, and people were recording at home. And I
Hmm.
think I had session work here and there. I played in a lot of bands, had some opportunities, almost gotten Hillary Duff's band, for a touring band time. Um, but you meet people. They say they can help you out, but there's a lot of flakes out there, and a lot of times just nothing comes of it. And so that's
Yeah, it's a very difficult industry. I mean, especially if you are in LA, there is like a lot of community circles, you can
yeah,
say. So you have to be in that circle before you can actually get any opportunity, and that takes time, to.
it
Uh,
takes time. They always say there's a lot of luck involved. There is. You got
yeah,
to out there, which I was doing, but I just didn't get those breaks. And
yeah,
one else might have. I didn't have the maybe I didn't have the right look. I was too tall, and
yeah.
it's funny, but this is true. This is real. It's the real shit. You got it. I was bald. I had to shave. I lost my hair. These things were, definitely held against me.
I mean, you
So
should
it's
should
tough.
should go to Turkey.
Oh yeah, right. Too late, man. I'm just kidding. It's all good.
So yeah, I mean, you're
Yeah.
too tall and I'm too short. So like
Ah,
everybody, like
we should form a group, with that team. Too short, too tall. I don't know something.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's like a different. I mean, even in like telling my story is similar. Like when I was trying to learn the instrument, getting involved into the music scene, I got like a lot of difficult moments in my life, heartbreaking stories where, you show up somewhere and people kick you out and stuff like that. I'll share maybe sometimes, maybe in my
Yeah.
autobiography
Oh,
someday, all these heartbreaking moments. But I
right.
mean, it's tough to be a, musician and like in a sense, uh, when you're trying to get into the as a making a living out of it. So it's like
Yes.
you have to be and if you get opportunity, like it's sometimes very short notice. Hey, uh, a
Hmm.
week you have week to learn, or maybe 2 days to learn all the songs for the audition.
Yeah.
Jump on it. So it's like a lot of you have to be on your toes all the time. But
Sure.
with social media, modern world, I think it's a little bit easier now to get in front of the people. But now it's too
Hmm.
crowded. The
Right. Now
place.
everyone thinks they can do it, and there's a lot of crap out there. Sorry, I got to say that.
Yeah, it is.
But
So
but hey, I you know I'm very happy these days. I'm doing the music on my own terms. I'm doing what I want. I'm able to release it, get a lot of feedback, and I'm trying to still, it's still sort of new, and hoping to get some reviews from publications, and I'm producing video content and getting it on my YouTube channel and in my Instagram. So it's cool.
yeah, that's awesome. So what fans should expect from this record? Like what type of songs, what type of playing or mood, or what you were going for that on
Yeah,
this record?
I try to call I have a very musical and melodic approach to instrumental rock fusion, because that genre is flooded with a lot of guys and gals that have great chops and technique, but I don't think they have great songs. And I'm going to say that because I feel very strongly about that. There's a lot of focus on just on the technique, so where the song is serving the technique as opposed to where the technique should be serving the song, and where meaning you don't always need to blow your load, for
Yeah.
lack of a phrase, on every song. and show everyone what you can do. How about play something that's tasteful, musical, that still shows ability and it can still be flashy, but there's a way to do it, or you're not just doing it over the whole song. Maybe a little quick,
Yeah.
moment here or there. So I try to, so my stuff is it's driven by that. So most of it is very musical and melodic. There are moments that have some flash with the bass or even guitar, and it could jump around. There's odd meters. There's definitely a prog rock vibe going on
Yeah.
with an amount of it, but then there's also just more other stuff. There's more classic rock and maybe a jazz fusion thing, and that not heavy. There's not really
Hmm.
improv. I didn't do any like improvisational sections that where it's just a jam and then and going off for like 5 minutes, things like that, which I'm not against. It just I wanted everything's very composed and written and trying to and harmonically complex at times and or just complex technically or with a again not something that's just not straight ahead or 4/4 time, but kind of everything just where it leads me. Other songs, certain songs have like more bass centric, bass driven. Others are more guitar driven, actually.
Hmm.
And yeah, I try to mix it up, have good variety, but always keeping the listener interested.
Yeah, it really shows, and you can get Mark's record on the Bandcamp showing on your screen. And it's I would say in the end, from my side, you are one of complete musician I think in I've ever met. Uh, One of the guys who knows the pop sensibilities, who know the prog stuff, metal stuff, whatever you throw at you know, you have all. I mean, your musical taste is like has a lot of variety in it. So, and that also shows on this record, like you demonstrated all different sensibilities of your music tastes, like you playing guitar, different instruments,
Mm.
and I mean it's a debut record. I'm of With every record you learn on something, grow, and you try to do something different. But that's like a just a little what you can say piece of a pie from your you can say what you can do, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I
So
think that means a lot. I appreciate you saying that, and I'm always trying to push myself, and yeah, I mean, whatever I do next, I mean, I'm going to try to explore different territory as well. Yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot of different styles and music influences running around in my head that still want to come out, I think. So,
yeah, and any plans to play this music live with maybe backing tracks or something?
I've never been a fan of that. It's just never satisfying when I've seen others do that, right? And have the backing track going, but it's just them on the stage. It doesn't have that full band sound, right? You're not watching a whole band perform the music. And if I can't do that, I don't have any interest.
Mhm.
So would I put together a band and try to perform this music? It's tough. Putting that on me. Like I can't just pick up the bass and play all these parts I recorded. Like right now, I know I would have to definitely work my butt off
Yeah.
to rehearse and practice, and I could do it. But to get everyone else on board with it, I mean, it would be a project. It would be a thing, and it's tough to find people that would be that dedicated, especially because there's not really any money. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So it would take me, I would have to hire people and
Okay. I mean, if you need help with the backing tracks, I can help you with that. Prepare all the backing tracks.
can't rule it out. I think if enough people ask me
Uh-huh.
if they want, it'd be great to see you do that. At least a song, maybe a song.
Thanks, Mark, for coming on this podcast. I appreciate your time and supporting my channel and supporting me with Fire Garden stuff as well. And we have a lot of unreleased songs which are coming out, and you are also now tracking new Fire Garden record these days. And So I'm really excited about that record as well. And and yeah, I mean, there are
Right?
some funny thoughts came in my head about my blues album, but
You know,
Hopefully.
we talked about this. I said, if you feel
Maybe
that strongly about it,
it's maybe
go
a
for it.
topic for another podcast, but let's see. So Mark Mallett's Off World is out on his Bandcamp and Spotify, wherever or Apple Music, wherever you get your streaming. And definitely highly recommend to check out this record and buy his CDs and vinyls as well. So thanks, Mark. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, Z.
Thank you.
That's,
Cheers. Show your jug.
that's right.
All right. Cheers.